Here we are on Boxing Day, and no, this is not a repeat of the Boxing Day storm of 2010, but it is going to be a substantial snowfall for a few folks out there. We've got all sorts of weather going on, kind of bizarre in a lot of ways. Joe and I are going to talk about this right here on this special Friday night edition of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, which you can support if you choose. Shop on Amazon using our referral link, and that you'll find is on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube. Just use that link to get you to Amazon. Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there, and it's just an easy, simple way to make sure that the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, the live version, stays commercial free. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system and join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is pinned to the top of the chat board, and it's also on the descriptor to this podcast. And we still have that coupon code, Joe Rayo.
Yes, believe it or not, the coupon code remains autumn 2025, although we're now officially into winter, but
Correct.
you can use that code and take off 10% off anything that you may try to purchase through our friends at Tempest.
Yes, and by all means, do that.
Yeah,
So, okay, so we're here. It's these last couple of days, I have to tell you quite honestly, has been rather frustrating for me because I kept looking at everything, every model run, and I kept feeling like I was missing something somewhere. It's a really bizarre setup. There's this warm nose that has moved its way up at mid levels, and that's why some places are seeing sleet. I mean, you're seeing some weird observations, Joe. You've got temperatures in the upper teens and low 20s, and people reporting light sleet. I think what happens is when you lose the intensity, that warm nose kind of makes it in there, and then when you get the intensity back, the warm nose weakens. So, I mean, that's I guess the best explanation I have. And you've already got like almost 4 inches on the ground where you are in Putnam.
I have, as of 6:45, we had 3.5 inches, and I would make the assumption that we have picked up at least another inch since that time. So we're probably running around four to maybe even close to 5 inches of snow. But as of right now, Joe, I don't see, or I didn't when I was out shoveling, as was my daughter on the deck. She was doing the deck. I was doing the front pavers. Didn't see anything in terms of sleet. But I do want to say one thing. I really, really have a lot of admiration for the NAM, the North American model, the only model that really, for the past 2 3 days, has been promoting some areas, large areas of sleet, actually encroaching into parts of the tri-state area from the west. None of the global models really showed much sleet. Today, we started seeing it on the GFS and also on the European, but I mean, for 2 or 3 days now, the NAM has been insisting that, hey, watch out, places from New York City on west, you're going to be seeing sleet. And that indeed has been happening, not everywhere, of course, but enough so that folks have been seeing sleet. Some people on the chat board, I noticed, are complaining about the fact that this is cutting into their potential big snow amounts that they were hoping for. Others are complaining that the storm is moving too quickly. Well, if you've been watching us or listening to us or looking at our forecast that we've been posting over the last couple of days, one of the things we were saying is that the bulk of the storm, well, not the bulk, but the lion's share of whatever we're going to see is going to come during the first half of tonight. The main thrust of snow, and it came in like a wall, Joe. I mean,
Yeah, I
we didn't
saw
have
that.
we didn't have we didn't have a case of this gently falling light snow that gradually intensified into a steadier light snow to moderate to heavy. No, boom! It came in at a moderate to heavy intensity, and that's why within a matter of only about an hour or 90 minutes, I quickly picked up about 3.5 inches. And as I said, maybe it's not coming down as hard right at this moment because parts of it are probably not in a specific band of heavy snow. But right now we have about 4 inches, The forecast that I put out, and I think you put out also, suggesting 6, 7, 8 inches. Well, that pretty much most of that I said in my discussion, my synopsis on Facebook. I said that by midnight tonight, 80% of the storm would be pretty well here.
Right.
That from after midnight, 1 a.m. on to the early hours of tomorrow morning, we'll still have snow, but it's not going to be anywhere near the intensities of what we're seeing, what we have seen, and what we are going to see over the next few hours.
So here's what I did, and I basically put in an area of 6 plus, and I'm looking at what's going on right now, and certainly the western flank of that, which I was kind of looking at maybe Route 78 as being the western flank. I might have to be further north of, like, say, Route 80, or possibly even up near the New York State line, and that 4 inch number has got to go up too. So sort of updating here on the fly. I think if you're in Connecticut, you got to go the other way, because it's been snowing really hard in places like Danbury, Waterbury, and this area here may wind up being the jackpot zone. Long Island's a little tough to figure. Bill Goodman messaged me, and he said he got a quick almost 2 inches, and then it just kind of lightened up, and had a little bit of sleet mixed in based on the observations. I'm at a point right now. I thought the weather service was pushing up some double digit numbers in some places. I thought maybe that was going to be a bit of a stretch, to begin with. So I really didn't feel comfortable going much above 6 with lower, local higher amounts possible. And I'm starting to wonder whether, uh, at least for areas, I think, east of New York, so for Connecticut, and possibly up, including you in the Hudson Valley, you'll probably you should hit your number, because the radars are still fairly loaded. And I think Long Island could still wind up with a bit of a surprise here, but if you're west and southwest, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So we'll just see how it goes.
Did you put the share button up for me, or
I'm about to just, give me a moment.
okay?
It's post Christmas, Joe. I'm kind of off the skids right now.
We all are.
Yes. So go ahead. You can go ahead and put yours up.
We're, along with Renata tonight, I also have my sister here, and we're preparing for a big day tomorrow in our family. We're going to be celebrating Renata's birthday, and we're all going out. We and some friends and other family. We're going to be meeting at a restaurant tomorrow evening and celebrating this major event in our family's history. So we're hoping that we know that the snow is going to be over with, and we know that by tomorrow midday, with the help of our snow blowers and scrapers and everything, we should pretty well be done with any snow accumulations. But on the screen, I don't know if it's visible now or evident now, but here's my forecast, which really
It's
doesn't
there.
differ too much. Really doesn't seem to differ too much from what you're forecasting. I did mention here for the high terrain areas, such as in Ulster and parts of Sullivan County. That's up near the Catskills. And I'm thinking of a place like, let's say, the Mohawk Mountain House, which is, they have Skywatch tower at like 15 or 1600 feet above sea level. Up in this area here, it wouldn't be surprising to hear about folks who saw, or places that had more than 8 inches. But generally speaking, I would say that in much of this area, much of this zone, we'll probably be looking at a solid half a foot, maybe a little bit more. I saw one person on the chat board, I didn't catch the name quickly enough, saying it's a bust here in Queens. It's mixing in with sleet or whatever. Well, I mean, like I mentioned, down in the Queens area, Staten Island, north central New Jersey, I guess north of I 78, 4 to 6 inches. If you hit the four, that's I pretty
Well,
much
and the thing is, let's just wait till it's over with, because we still have
yeah.
enough. Why don't we just wait till it's over with? And by the way, I'm just looking at some of the 7 o'clock observations. Poughkeepsie's moderate. 1 mile at White Plains, it had actually had some sleet that mixed in. Now it's back to all snow there. 1 mile. Three-quarters at Newburgh, three-quarters at Montgomery. Central Park in Manhattan went to just flurries. Now they're steady snow, three-quarters of a mile visibility, so not too far from moderate. I got to think they got that tenth of an inch already. So you're good. We're over the 3 inch mark for the month. Sleet at LaGuardia, light snow at Kennedy. Well, and that's strange when you see it opposite of where it normally would be. Sleet at Newark, snowing at Teterboro, 1 mile visibility there. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, these observations are not. And meanwhile, I'm looking in Connecticut. Moderate at Danbury, they were S plus. Moderate in 22. Waterbury, Oxford, S plus, 18 there. Heavy snow at Bridgeport. Heavy snow at Meridian. Heavy snow New Haven. I mean, some really good, solid snows are falling in Connecticut right now. That might be the
I,
jackpot zone.
I don't know where Shelly Man Studios. He says in 2 hours we've already got 6 inches. I'd like to know where
He's
he's
in
located.
he's in Connecticut. I mean,
Okay.
I know he's in Connecticut. I don't remember where. He hasn't been on the board in a while.
Yeah.
Good to see you on the chat board, Shelly Man Studios.
Yes.
But yeah, oh, he says
And the other
Bridgeport.
and the other thing to point out,
Bridgeport,
which
Joe.
okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, another thing I should have pointed out is the fact that where it is snowing, it is a very puffy, powdery, low density snow. Unlike the last snow that we had just a few days ago, when we had maybe a couple of inches of sloppy, wet snow here in Putnam Valley, and it was semi difficult to push along or scrape off the driveway. This snow is a puffy, powdery, classic snow. I was watching one of the newscasts. I think it was Channel 7 here in New York, and the reporter they had outside, she was in Yonkers, and she said, "This is definitely not the kind of snow that you can make a snowball with." And I said, "Good, good. It'll make it all the easier, especially if you're, you know, shoveling tomorrow morning to get rid of this stuff. It makes it easier when it's puffy and powdery as opposed to, and of course, puffy, powdery snow, a greater ratio. The normal ratio is 10 to 1 inch of rain to 10 inches of snow. This is more like a 12 or maybe even a 15 to 1 ratio, which is probably also why a lot of people are seeing a greater amount.
Right.
And the fact that the ground was so cold all through the course of the day, Joe. Our high here in Putnam Valley was only 23. We're down to 19. That snow, when it started, stuck immediately, and that helps in building up the snowfall, the snow amounts.
Yeah. Why don't we just, everybody calm down and let's wait until we get through the night and see what we wind up with, because there's probably a few more surprises in store. Here's hold on just a second. I gotta just bring back this. There we go. So I'm going to start just quickly to go through some of the watches and warnings and advisories that are mostly warnings and advisories that are up. And we're looking at winter storm warnings for the northern half of New Jersey, Long Island, northeastern
Still waiting for your map,
Pennsylvania.
Joe.
Yeah, no, map's up.
It is?
Yes,
Oh,
should be.
oh, there it is. Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, you're on delay. Uh, Winter storm warnings throughout much of upstate New York, including Albany. Uh, they they uh, they're the ones that are getting a surprise out of all of this, because if you look back a few days ago, the snow was not forecast to get pretty that far north. If anything, we even discussing the idea that there would be suppression, and that didn't occur. Winter storm warnings. Also late to the game was getting winter storm warnings up in Connecticut, and it started out with just a couple of the western counties, and in the winter storm watch and nothing else. Now we've got warnings, except for the eastern counties, advisories there, advisories in Rhode Island, advisories in Massachusetts and central and western Massachusetts, western Mass in winter storm warnings, and a couple of counties in southern Vermont under winter weather advisories. That area is that's where the northern edge is now, instead of being somewhere between Poughkeepsie and Albany. Now the northern edge is somewhere between, say, Saratoga and Burlington in Vermont. So there you go. And the forecast snow amounts, now these are Weather Service numbers. And I'm going to widen it out a little bit so you can get a perspective here. Um, the southern, I guess the toughest part of the forecast is that southern and western flank, because you're probably going to just have like a wall where you go from 0 to 4 inches over a matter of miles before this is all said and done. But the Weather Service numbers were basically on the order of 6 to maybe as much as 9 or 10. I think you have a good chance of getting those numbers in the western half of Connecticut. If you're west of I-91, I think you're probably going to wind up with certainly 6, 7, 8 inches, and maybe even some spots with 9 or 10. The same may even go down to coastal Connecticut. Long Island Weather Service numbers were going 8 to 10. You know what? Might be pushing it, but I don't want to rule out that something strange happens there, because this is a sort of strange situation where that kind of stuff does happen. And in northern New Jersey, now here's where the numbers might be a little suspect. With the general 4 to 8, 8 inch plus north of Route 80. I don't know, Joe. That might be a little push. And in the Hudson
Yeah.
Valley, they had numbers in the 8, 9 inch range, even some 10 inch amounts. I guess we could just, we just have to, like I said, we just got to watch the hourlies and watch the radar. And now from nothing, we're looking at 6 to 8 inches all across I-90, which is just insane that it got as far north as that. And what you're seeing in Pennsylvania, which is equally serious, by the way, in a different way, is all this stuff that you see back in Western Central and Southeast PA. That's all freezing rain and sleet. Uh, uh, that's all freezing rain and sleet. So they're getting a bit of an ice storm there. Tag N25 says that National Weather Service lowered your numbers to 3 to 5 from 5 to 8. Where are your numbers? Just out of curiosity, I'm just curious where you're talking about. Um, anyhow, uh, I mean, I'm thinking maybe if you're with Mount, maybe in Jersey somewhere in central Jersey. But there's still moisture to work through here into the cold air. And the dark green bands are over central and eastern Long Island. There's some heavier bands here as of 7:53 p.m. Eastern time over western and central Long Island. You've got some heavier echoes in northern New Jersey. I'm guessing that the yellow areas is where you're probably getting more sleet than anything else. And then, of course, this is all snow up to the north as you go up 87. So there's still more to go here. This is not done yet by any means.
I agree with you. I think that from now until at least midnight, we'll have a shot at seeing at least an inch or two an hour in many locations. Again, it's difficult to define where a heavy snow band, is going to set up. Sometimes they set up so quickly. You're looking at one thing, and all of a sudden, boom! Here comes and Joe. Right now, we're seeing the heaviest areas of precipitation crossing through north central New Jersey. It looks like, at least on the radar, and people are watching that one area that seemingly is the back edge of the precipitation. It just came through Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, and that's what I guess has some of the snow enthusiasts worried that is going to continue to move eastward and cut the snow right off after they have already seen a pretty significant snow amount. But again, a lot of things can excuse me, a lot of things can happen between now and 11 o'clock and midnight. And again, we expect that it's going to be snowing in some way, shape, or form in the hours of the morning, the wee hours of the morning. I just heard Mrs. Rayo on the intercom indicate that I should be ringing the bell because it looks like we have already hit 100 on the board here. So
So,
that's very nice. We appreciate that.
the Weather Service has adjusted their numbers, by the way. They've lowered for areas in and around New York City to basically 4 to 5. Uh, they have Western, Nassau, and they've left Suffolk pretty much alone, going for 8 inches plus, because that area is getting into some of that heavier snow bands that we showed you on the radar. And you see the big numbers in Connecticut, they left alone. The bigger numbers in the Hudson Valley were left alone, and they kind of, north of Route 80, they're still looking at 6 to 8 there. I'm not going to say impossible. One of the big problems here in a system like this is that and it's a Friday night coming off the Christmas holiday. There's a lot of people away. It's hard to get, this is the kind of night where you want like specific information from a lot of different places and you're not getting it. So it just makes things a bit difficult. But all in all, I mean, this is all going to play through. Um, and by tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., except for maybe a few areas on Long Island and South Coastal Connecticut, it's going to be mostly done. And we're going to see improving weather conditions. Still a bit on the chilly side. And then Sunday, as high pressure moves off the Carolinas and we get into a southwest flow, we're going to get one of these warm front, cold front things. I don't see any issues with this, but I think this is going to be mostly rain, except maybe in the coldest spots might briefly start off as some sleet or freezing rain going to rain. And then we've got a cold front that comes through with perhaps some showers on Monday, followed by what looks like a series of cold shots. That's one thing going forward, Joe. We're going to have cold shot after cold shot after cold shot.
I think you're absolutely right. It looks like we'll have one day on Monday where temperatures are going to be flirting with 50 degrees, and we probably will have plain rain showers, not snow. And then we'll see what happens beyond that. A series of cold air masses dropping on down from Canada, sending the temperatures downward. By this time next week, probably we'll be back in the 20s by day and down in the teens or maybe single digits at night. But that's another thing, Joe. Tomorrow night, and somebody brought this up on the chat board. Thank goodness we don't have wind with this, because we'd probably be seeing some drifting out there and blowing. But with the lack of any wind tomorrow night, and the sky is expected to become at least partly cloudy to maybe even clear, and with a snow cover, I'm thinking that in parts of the Hudson Valley, those rural, wide open valley areas to the north and to the west, especially north and west of 84, you may find sub-zero temperatures at daybreak on Sunday morning, and even in coastal areas and urban locations, temperatures on Sunday morning could very well be in the mid or low teens. Again, thanks to the snow cover, lack of wind, clear skies, it looks like we could have a prime radiational cooling night tomorrow night in the aftermath of all of this that we get now.
In the meantime, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to manage a few things here. Uh, I'm going to go back to the GF, actually, I'll switch it to the European. Take a look at what we're doing going forward. Things at least have calmed down in the West, or will calm down in the West. So a little bit more work to do there because in California, we've got flash flood warnings and flash flood watches up and down the state. We've got winter storm warnings up in the Sierra Nevadas and up into northwestern California, advisories in the northern and central Rockies, and a couple of counties here and there with winter storm warnings. By the way, ice storm warnings up in west central Pennsylvania. The only spot in Pennsylvania that's not under any kind of advisory or warning is Southwest PA, and that is where the edge of this cold air is, because that's where your low is. It's in eastern Ohio, moving southeastward. In fact, I'm going to bring up a surface map here because again, this has just been just a really strange setup all the way around. WPC zoom, where are you? There you go. But I mean, here it is. Uh, you look at this. I mean, there's a high, strong high, strongish high in Quebec. They actually have another high center to 21Z over eastern Long Island, I guess. And then you've got this low in northeast Ohio with this swiggly warm front that goes into southwest PA, drops all the way down into western North Carolina, and then swings out to another low that's analyzed off the coast east of Wilmington in North Carolina. I mean, this is about as strange a surface setup as I've seen in a long, long time.
One of those loopy doopy warm fronts. So of course, the low, the main or the primary low, is somewhere over Ohio right now. We know, we've been talking about how it was going to probably not, in all in one piece, continue or progress because of the block caused by the high pressure system, that it would probably lateral its energy to a new system The new system right now, as Joe has on the map here, apparently is trying to take shape just off of the to the south of the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and that will eventually become the primary system. And by tomorrow morning, that system should be well out to sea to the east of the Mid-Atlantic coast, taking most of the unsettled weather with it. So this, this is something that the models have been trying to ferret in their own way with their algorithms. How are they going to handle uh, this setup? I do want to bring up, Joe. I have it on my screen. If you want to throw it to me for a moment,
Sure.
this is the H. I'm showing the H triple R. This is the 23Z, or the data based on 6 p.m. Eastern time, and this is for 4Z Saturday. This would be for 11 p.m. tonight. And take a look, if you will. There you see on the H triple R an indication of sleet working its way out of south central New York State, across northeastern Pennsylvania, and on into a portion of the lower Hudson Valley. Sleet.
Right,
And
but meanwhile, it's all snow on Long Island, and it's all snow in northern New Jersey, and and sleet across central Jersey. I mean, is that just bizarre? I mean, really, that is just a bizarre setup.
it is a bizarre setup. I'm, in fact, here, I just backed this up. This is the H triple R for 7 o'clock. We're coming up on 8 o'clock. Here, there, Joe just mentioned about sleet in central New Jersey. There's your sleet right there. Uh, and it gives me some degree of confidence to think that if that is the case now, that maybe that we get to 11 o'clock tonight or midnight, that indeed I may be seeing sleet here by 11 o'clock on top of whatever snow
If
is accumulated
right,
between now and then.
but if you get a if you go get back in those into one of those moderate bands ahead of all this, you could probably double your snowfall on the ground before that even happens.
That's true, but again, take a look. You can see the darker shades, and I know this is the H triple R's attempt maybe to depict heavier snow bands, and there seems to be on this view here for 7 o'clock. Here's one, here's two, here's three, and so as we move along, those bands very quickly diminish. There's one band now as of 9 o'clock. The projection is cutting almost the state of Connecticut diagonally from northwest to southeast. But all of those heavy bands have diminished some, and then in comes the now. How much snow is falling in any one of those bands? 2 inches an hour, 3 inches an hour. I've already got maybe an estimate, off the top of my head here, maybe 4 or 5 inches of snow. If I have 2 inches per hour for the next couple hours, that could be like 8 or 9 inches before it even changes to sleet. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I actually have, since you talked about the H triple R, you have the 23Z H triple R. I have the 0Z, the latest H triple R.
Okay,
Uh,
well, so have but mine only
no,
goes
no,
out
no,
to.
but I got it on Pivotal, which is gives it a bit of a different look. Plus, I'm all very if you look on the screen when it pops up, Joe, you'll see I'm very close up. And what's kind of odd is, you know, looking at some of the observations. Now, I want to see what the 8 o'clock obs are going to look like here, because if this is correct, if the H triple R is correct, there should be no sleet going on anywhere across northern New Jersey. Right now, it should be all snow in the Hudson Valley, all snow on Long Island, and all snow in Connecticut, except the northeastern corner of the state. And you can see the darker blues are supposed to be sitting overhead. And this is again the first one of these is at This map here is for 8 o'clock, which was 5 minutes ago. At 9 o'clock, you've got dark blue snow over New York City, Brooklyn, all of Long Island, the Hudson Valley. You can see where the sleet is, and it's also still snowing hard in Connecticut. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. There's your sleet coming over the top. So it actually changes over to sleet in the southern Catskills before it even changes over to sleet on Long Island. I mean, this is really bizarre. This is at midnight. Still mostly snow though to the north and northeast. Okay. You've got big pockets of sleet around New York City, but also areas of snow to the west of that. Again, if the HRRR is right. And then the sleet diminishes by 1 a.m. and the snow starts to weaken 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and it's mostly done by 4, 5 a.m. If you want to believe that. And I don't know, Joe, at this point, we might as well just just like I said, this is where you just look at observations. Excuse me. You watch observations here and look at radars and just see what's going on. The models at this point, you look at these short range models and even they can't really get it exactly correct. And we're talking about, a map for an hour or 2 hours from now. So just to point out, at 8 o'clock, we've got light snow at New York City, Central Park, 25. Freezing rain at LaGuardia and 24. Light snow this is going to be a mess, Joe, to get around. I mean,
Yeah.
forget about the snow amounts, but you got freezing rain in the mix there. I mean, it's played with a temperature of 24. I mean, that's a skating rink. Kennedy is still snowing. Kennedy at 25. Light sleet at Newark at 27. Teterboro is sleet at 24. Visibility 1 mile. So there's probably some snow in there too. And I'm just going to check and see if the regionals are up. They might not be. Even the regionals at 8 o'clock are up. Okay, so that's good. On Long Island, a quarter of a mile visibility and moderate snow at MacArthur Airport. I got to believe they got at least, they must have at least 3 to 3.5 inches on the ground there already. Moderate at Shirley, 1/2. 1 mile at Farmingdale. Moderate at West Hampton. Moderate at East Hampton. And temperatures all in the low to mid 20s. In the Hudson Valley, moderate again at White Plains, 22. They had sleet, it's gone. Newburgh, light snow, 18, 3/4 of a mile, so almost moderate there. A quarter and moderate at Montgomery. Heavy snow in Poughkeepsie. Heavy snow in Albany. In New Jersey, we're looking at snowing at Linden, Caldwell, mixed precip in Somerville, snowing in Sussex in northwest Jersey, freezing rain in 25 at Trenton, freezing rain in 32 in Millville in South Jersey. Okay, and sleet at Philadelphia. They were freezing rain, now there's sleet in 29. Allentown was freezing rain, now there's snowing in Allentown, 23. And for our friends in Connecticut, the only place, actually, except for Groton, which is reporting light snow in 1 mile, and Willimantic, which is in the northeastern part of the state, which is just cloudy, everybody is either moderate or heavy snow, moderate or S plus, heavy snow. And that's, I think, for the third hour or fourth hour in a row in Waterbury, Oxford. It's heavy snow there. I should call my daughter up because she's not that far from there. Bridgeport, moderate snow, heavy in Meridian, moderate at Bradley, moderate at Hartford, moderate at Danbury, and on it goes.
Okay, on my screen, and this is as of 7 o'clock this evening, the chairman, Scott Briller, sent me a note on Messenger a little while ago requesting. He said, I really would like to see or hope that you would show the FGEN map. The FGEN, for those of you who are new to this, generally indicates, I mean, those of us who go way, way back in this, we used to look at, on some of the computer guidance models, vertical motion, vertical velocity, how much lift is occurring. The greater the lift, the more intense the precipitation tends to be. Now we're looking at what is called FGEN or omega. And you could see on this particular map, this is from the 18Z GFS run, and this is as of 7 o'clock this evening. And you can see that for atmospheric.
Please.
What?
No, not you. I'm sorry. I'm reading a message from somebody that's like driving me up the wall. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe. I wasn't talking to you.
That's all right. Okay. So what we have here is the axis of the greatest energy or the greatest omega. You would expect that if you were looking for intense precipitation, that it would be somewhere within this zone. And the fact that the contour lines are rather tightly packed, the gradient is tightly packed, that this is where you would probably find the greatest amount of snow and or whatever sleet that's falling at this particular hour. Now, I'm sorry that the GFS goes in 6 hour increments, but I think when we move forward to 1 a.m., we have kind of a strange situation here where I keep looking at this and I'm saying to myself, well, what happens? Does this area go north and west? And does this area go south and east? It suddenly seems like it breaks apart, so to speak. And by the time we get to 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, all of the omega, all of the intense energy is pretty well gone, except for maybe a little bit of weak energy in evidence over portions of Massachusetts and southern sections of Vermont. But what this model seems to be indicating is that right now and for the next few hours, I'm going to change the view to mesoscale. I'm going to go to the NAM, and this is as of 7 o'clock this evening. Notice what happens as I move forward in time. The NAM goes in 1 hour increments, and you can see, look at that area again over the lower Hudson Valley, especially tightening up. And now here's another zone that is over in the north and west over central New York State. It looks like it's coming on down, but then once we get to let's say 2 a.m., all of this is obviously lifting away now to the north and to the east of our area. The model with the fastest indication or movement of the FGEN was the European model, and this is the 18Z run. And you take a look here. This is 7 p.m. You take a look. Here is that area that was being shown by the GFS, although the GFS, the contours were, again, tighter, the gradient was more tightly packed. And then as we move on the European to 10 o'clock this evening, look, it pretty much is all gone. It shows that one area, again, all the models are showing this area of energy north and west of the tri-state area up across central or north central New York State. And, that kind of is trying to gain a foothold. Here it is at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then it pretty well is pushed off to the north and east. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is based upon the positioning on three of these short-term models, guidance models, you can anticipate that anytime between now and let's say midnight or 1 a.m., with the models trying to suggest some atmospheric energy, playing with the immediate tri-state area, that we could still get into bands or periods of heavy precipitation, be it snow or maybe sleet. But once we get past midnight or 1 a.m., all of this stuff apparently is shifting away to the north and east, and thereafter we get precipitation. We'll still be seeing snow or some form of precipitation, but it'll be much lighter, not as heavy as what we are seeing now in places and what we will be seeing over the next few hours. Thereafter, after about midnight, 1 a.m., there's not going to be all that much more added on to what we're going to be seeing in the coming hours. As I said at the top of the show, expect that whatever you get in terms of precipitation, be it 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of snow, 80% of that will be falling during the time frame from now to about midnight, and then thereafter, it's just dibbly squat, if you will, maybe another inch or so on top of what has already fallen. So the majority of what is going to be hitting us in terms of heavy-duty precipitation is going to be now and for the next few hours. But again, after later tonight, after 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m., all of that shifts north and east with the redevelopment of the storm out over the Atlantic Ocean, the second storm, and that'll be pretty much it as far as the significant precipitation is concerned.
All right, we got some super chat hits. I just want to acknowledge those of you who've hit the tip jar. Thank you very much. And Merry Christmas, by the way. Merry Christmas to everybody. Richard Bond, great show. Go Canes, beat OSU. I hope they do, because I picked Miami. Jason Kaplan, thank you for hitting the tip jar. And He says, "That's what I said. Let's wait till it's over to see just exactly, how this turns out." Um, Scott Briller, thank you for hitting the tip jar. Talking about heavy sleet in Hamilton outside of Trenton, 27 degrees, not a flake, but a lot of ice pellets. Joseph Carr, thank you for hitting the tip jar tonight. And David Schwartz, thank you for hitting Super Chat. 162 likes so far, which we appreciate very much. Thank you for hitting the like button. Maybe we could have a day where we go over 200, would be nice. John Delaney on the chat board says that snow is coming down heavy again where he is in Queens. So there you go. There's a lot of variability of what we're seeing here in terms of the radar. So you're probably going to wind up, Joe, seeing some really interesting amounts where you're going to get people probably from opposite ends of a town. One is going to complain that they got less than what was forecast, and the other one is going to complain that they got more than what was forecast.
Yes, that you can't please everybody in this business. It's unfortunate, but it's very rare that anybody walks away and says, "I got what I wanted," or "They predicted exactly what I figured that I was going to get," or whatever. There's somebody out there who's always going to have something to say. So, what? Now, Cecilia Hernandez, I don't know what's going on anymore, and I don't really care what's going on anymore. Cecilia Hernandez, Joe is saying, why not Channel 61 in storm mode? They are airing a positive note tonight. I don't know. I don't care. This is the new
I don't
management.
know. I don't care. I pull down my underwear.
Uh,
Exactly.
when we had News 12 under the management of the Dolan family, Cablevision, one of the things that they were very, very strict on was Channel 61, 2 minutes of traffic, 2 minutes of weather, update frequently during storm events. And Rich Von Olin, who is no longer at News 12, he was one of the last ones to depart. He was the guy who tried to keep that on a proper footing. Now, like I said, they don't care. The only thing they care about at Channel 61 and at Altice, which is the name of the company, is making money. When we had 61, Channel 61, we were proud. We were proud of the fact that it was 2 minutes, every 2 minutes it was traffic, 2 minutes of weather. Now, when you watch Channel 61, you get your traffic, and then you may have to wait as much as 5 minutes to get weather because they're jamming in as many commercials as they possibly can before they finally get to the other phase of that channel, which would be weather, or vice versa. It's simply so you're asking Cecilia why they're not in storm mode. I don't know. Why don't you send them an email? Why don't you send them a letter? Write them a letter and tell them how disappointed you are in what has happened to what really was a great channel. Channel 61 with Joe, you and I, we worked at Cablevision. We remember one of the vice presidents there, Norm Fine, who at one time was at CNN, and Norm used to come to News 12 every quarter, and he used to brag about the fact that Channel 61 was beating the Weather Channel 3-1. And in fact, I mentioned that at an AMS conference about 20 years ago, and oh, who's always mentioned with the Weather Channel, Joe?
Jim
The
Cantori.
the Cantori was in the
He
audience
lives about
when I
20
mentioned
miles
that,
away from me, by the way.
and he came up to me after I mentioned that, and he was mad. He was angry. He said, "I didn't take too kindly for what you just said about the fact that you were beating the Weather Channel 3-1." I said, "I'm only quoting the statistics. More people are coming to Channel 61 because they know that they don't have to wait more than 2 minutes to get a radar, a forecast, accumulation estimates, latest accumulation amounts." They said, "You go to Channel 62, right next door to the Weather Channel, and what did you get? The weather and your health."
Right.
So what are you gonna do? That's so now Channel 61 is, you know, just doesn't provide the service that they used to anymore.
Well, it's a different world, and that I think is probably a good conversation to have, uh, on another day. And I think how many likes do we have? We have
How many likes
318.
we got? We got 184 likes.
Oh, it'd be nice if we could get over 200. We have 318 folks on right now. We've already had, I believe, we've had
Ladies
almost
and gentlemen,
1,800 views so far.
the birthday girl tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Rayo.
And
Thank you
Mrs.
very much.
Miss-
Now it's time to go because we want to eat dinner. It's a late night.
Wait a minute, haven't you eaten yet?
No, we're waiting for you.
Well, you didn't have to wait for me.
Hey,
Yes.
Joe, did you have to get somebody to no, let me rephrase the question. Um, did you get yourself into a situation where you asked somebody to get a present for Renata because uh, you're not good at picking out presents, so just like Ethel Mertz got from Fred with hostess pants?
Yeah, he sort of does that.
I'm going to give you the honor to ring the bell because I think we're at 200 now. 205 likes. Ring the bell.
Ooh, look
Thank
at
you.
that.
All right, Joe,
Well,
if
happy
you don't
birthday,
mind,
Renata. Joe, go eat your dinner. Thanks everybody for being here on a Friday night. So we'll be back Sunday night to recap this whole mess and figure out, what went right and what went wrong, and then look ahead to the next one, because there's always going to be the next one. So everybody have a great night, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye bye.